And statement in Boolean searching is the ability to include multiple criteria to be met when trying to identify something in a search engine, typically separated by the word and. Here's an example of how this might work. Let's say you were to go to a supermarket and you want all of these on your list: bananas, oranges, apples, and asparagus. If you were to write this as a Boolean search string and statement, you would simply write it just like this: bananas followed by capital and oranges, followed by capital and apples, telling the search engine that they need to make sure that all these requirements are met, because the and statement tells the search engine they have to have each individual thing. If you take this to Google, type it into here, you will now see it only returns about 14 million results that meet all the criteria. They have the word bananas and the word oranges and the word apples and the word asparagus somewhere in the article. How will this work when you're sourcing? Here's an example of a search that I did in our SeekOut database using Boolean search strings. I looked for the word recruiter and the word sourcing and the word SeekOut. So what that means is when I hit enter and executed this search, it only brought back candidates that met all three criteria, because the and lets the search engine know that all three of those must be included. And you can see it's only bringing back people that mention the word recruiter, mention the word sourcing, and mention the word SeekOut anywhere on their profile. The OR statement is an expansive Boolean search operator that allows you to search for multiple possibilities rather than meeting all criteria. Here's what I mean. In that previous example, I used this list saying I want all of these, but what if I said I wanted any of these? As in, this could be a banana, or it could be an orange, it could be an apple, or it could be an asparagus. I would be happy with any of those four things. Well, instead of writing an and statement, we would write an or statement just like this. We would write the word bananas separated by the word or oranges, or apples, or asparagus. This tells the search engine that supports Boolean search that it would have to bring back answers that match at least one of these criteria. Now, it could match all four, it could match three of the four, it could match two of the four, or it could only match one of the four. But the reason what the or statement does is says it's not exclusive, it's more inclusive, as in there's more possible correct answers. So if I were to take this to Google, you can see when I do this with an and statement, it only brings back things that meet all the criteria. If I switch this out for or statements, you'll notice it goes from 14 million results to 1.7 billion results, because now it's no longer looking for any kind of website or article that has all four of those. It's only looking for things that have one of the four, if not multiple. How you would write this in a Boolean search, you can see this in our search database here at SeekOut. I simply go into our keywords and I write the word recruiter, the word sourcing, and the word SeekOut separated by or statements. Now, if I were to use and statements, it'd bring back about 1.5 thousand candidates, because it wouldn't require you to find people that had all three of those things. But since we're using an or statement, it's only requiring people to have one of those three, which is why you bring back 7.8 million rather than only 1.5 thousand. Not statements are a Boolean operator that allow you to exclude certain words or phrases from your search results, i.e., make sure that anything that comes back does not have this. And here's what I mean. Here is that same example right here saying I want all of these: bananas, oranges, sausage, and milk. However, I don't want 2% milk. So how can I make sure that I write this list correctly in Boolean, but also let it know not 2% milk, so any other milk besides 2%? Here's how you do it. There's two specific ways that you can do it based on which search engine that you use. Here at SeekOut, we support both, and Google supports one. You can see it's the exact same phrase: bananas and oranges and sausage and milk. But remember, I want not 2% milk. So I put the word not in front of the word 2%. So if I were to go to, let's say, a store that picks up, orders of, groceries based on your Boolean search, it would know to exclude any type of milk that has the word 2% in it. Again, this is how you would write it if you were to want to do this in, let's say, Google. In Google, instead of using the word not, Google uses the minus sign right in front. Either way, it executes the exact same way. It's a way to exclude anything that you do not want to see from your results. And here's what a way you could do it in SeekOut. So here is the exact same search from the previous examples that I did, looking for a recruiter or a sourcer, and doing all here, making sure my or statements are in parentheses. They have to use one of these ATSs. However, what if I wanted to exclude anybody that said the word retired somewhere on their profile, because I do not want to source somebody who is retired? I would simply, in SeekOut, put the word not and then type the word retired. Now you'll see when I hit enter, the results change from about 43,000 to 4.17 thousand. And the reason it does that is now it is excluding anybody that says the word retired, because I used that not statement. So now SeekOut knows it does not want anybody in their search results that has the word retired in their profile. Again, you can use the word not, or you can use the minus sign that is supported by Google. Either one of those work in SeekOut. Just make sure when you're using your search engine, make sure you look up what syntax your search engine supports so you're able to write your not statement correctly. Parentheses in Boolean search are a very powerful operator that allow you to build the search correctly to execute as intended in the search engine. Think of it very similar to algebra, making sure that the parentheses are in place to group certain things together so that they are executed in the correct order of operations. Here's examples. Here's that same list: bananas, oranges, milk or juice, sausage or bacon. So essentially what I want to say is make sure you get bananas, make sure you get oranges. However, you could get milk or juice, and you can get sausage or bacon. So now you're seeing that we're going to be able to combine and statements with or statements. And to do that, you need to use parentheses. If you write it like this: bananas and oranges and milk or juice and sausage or bacon, this is incorrect. The reason being is because we need to group this or statement together and this or statement together, so that way when you run the search in the search engine of your choice, it knows this is one and statement, this is another and statement, and these two are both possible correct answers to your third and statement, and these two are possible right answers to your fourth and statement. So how would you write this? This is the correct way. It's the exact same text. However, you can see right here, I included this parentheses around milk or juice, and I included these parentheses around sausage or bacon. That way, when the search engine reads this, it knows to go order of operations is this is one and statement, this is two and statement, and this is your third statement that has multiple correct answers, and this is your fourth statement that has multiple correct answers. You need to make sure that anytime you have an or statement, it is always, always, always imperative that anytime you have an or statement, it is surrounded by a set of parentheses. Here's an example live. This is an incorrect Boolean search string in SeekOut. You can see I'm looking for recruiter or sourcer, and they have to mention one of these ATSs. However, you can tell that these are different numbers of results, and the reason is because this is written correctly. Now, you still want to use that recruiter or sourcer. However, because you want to keep those groups together as one argument, you surround this with a set of parentheses. Then you write your and statement, and then you do the exact same thing for your next set of answers, your next or statement. This is a correct Boolean search term because the search engine knows that these two are both possible right answers. They are grouped together with that parenthesis, so it knows to keep them together. And then you can use this and statement to say, and here is the second argument they must meet. Again, using the or statement and grouping it in a set of parentheses so the search engine knows, keep these things together. One when I'm looking through these searches, all of these are possible right answers to the same questions. However, the parentheses make sure that they are grouped together, so that way you are able to use ands and you're able to use or statements at the same time to build more complex searches. In Boolean sourcing, the quotation marks, or inverted commas as some people call it, is probably the most powerful tool that you will need to master to make sure that you're able to properly execute your Boolean searches. What quotation marks do essentially look for exact phrasing or an exact match of a search term when you're using two or more words in a search term. And here is my example I'm going to show you. Here is my list that I want to go to the grocery store with, and I want bananas, oranges, ice cream, chocolate pie. Now, bananas and oranges are just a single word, so you do not need quotation marks because it's just going to look for the word banana and looking for the word oranges. However, ice cream and chocolate pie are two separate words. You will need to, because it has two separate words, so anything that has two or more words in a search engine, you will need to include quotation marks on the outside. And the reason why is this tells the search engine, hey, make sure you look for this exact phrase. Make sure the word ice is right next to the word cream. Make sure the word chocolate is right next to the word pie. You essentially want to marry these two together to only bring back anything where these two words are side by side. So this right here is incorrect. If you were to say bananas and oranges and ice cream and chocolate pie, but you left out those quotation marks, essentially you're telling the search engine, make sure you find bananas and oranges and ice cream. However, the word ice and the word cream do not need to be side by side. So you could have the word ice at the top of the article, the word cream at the bottom of the article, and it would come back as a match, because without those quotes, you are not telling it to do an exact match. However, if this is correct, bananas and oranges, again, they're only one word, so they do not require those quotation marks. However, when I use the word ice cream, I put those quotes around the word ice cream as well as with chocolate pie. So now when I put this into my search engine, it would only bring back exact matches for the word ice cream and exact matches for the word chocolate pie. So here is a real Boolean search that is done incorrectly without quotation marks. You can tell right here I'm doing recruiting manager and sourcing and passive candidates. However, you can see the recruiting manager is two or more words, but it is not inside of a set of quotation marks. Same thing goes for passive candidates. It is two or more words, but it is not inside a set of quotation marks. The word sourcing is not required to be inside a set of quotation marks because it's only one word. However, these two or more word phrases need to be inside a set of quotation marks to make sure that you find an exact match of that phrase in here. And you can see it's bringing back people that say the word recruiting and the word managing and the word passive and the word candidate. However, those terms are not exact matches because those words are not grouped together. Now here is the exact same search. However, this time I made sure to surround the two or more word phrases inside of a quotation mark to bring back only people who said this exact phrase of recruiting manager and only this exact phrase of passive candidates. And you'll notice that even though my search results are much, much slower, they're much more accurate because now it's only bringing back people who have those exact phrases, whereas in the previous one, the word recruiting and the word manager could be anywhere on the title, and they did not have to be side by side because they are not set in that set of quotation marks to create an exact phrase. This video is going to be on wildcard operators, which is an advanced sourcing technique that you can use to be more expansive when you're using Boolean search. So what is a wildcard character? Well, if you go to Wikipedia, you'll see right here that in the computer software, which would be considered sourcing since search engines are computer software platforms, a wildcard is a symbol used to replace or represent one or more characters. Now, each sourcing platform and each search engine is going to have their own set of wildcards that they support. You'll see here's a list of a bunch of different things that Google supports, and they all have their own individual ways of writing it and their own syntax. In SeekOut, here's how you could use a wildcard. To find more about these wildcards, you can simply click this button that says Advanced Search Tips. Go to the very bottom of this page and go to our Advanced Boolean Search with SeekOut. It'll bring you to this page right here. You can see wildcard, and you'll go right here. And then it'll tell you what we use wildcards for in SeekOut. So you can see right here, wildcards are placeholders for any value. We support two, which is the asterisk and the question mark. The asterisk is the one I'm going to associate and show you today. It is used to represent multiple characters, so think of it as a fill in the blank, where the question mark is the exact opposite. It is used to represent only one character. So what does that mean, and how do you use it in SeekOut? Well, here's a good example right here. If you were to go into SeekOut and type in the letters E and G, and then follow that with this asterisk, this wildcard operator, it would find words like engineering, engineer, English, engine, and more, because you are telling the search engine, find me every word that starts with these three letters, and this asterisk is going to be the placeholder for every possible ending to that word that could possibly be inside one database. Let's see this in action. If I were to come to this keyword box and let's search for just the word cyber, it's going to bring back 1.1 million candidates, and it's only going to be looking for an exact match of the word cyber, as in here and here. But as we know, there are multiple ways people could say cyber. You could have cybersecurity, cyber analyst. There's multiple ways for this one word to end. So if I simply add that asterisk, watch what happens. When I hit enter, it goes from 1.9 or 1.1 to 1.9. And the reason is not only is it going to still find those people's site that just say the word cyber, but this asterisk is going to fill in the blanks to find all other possible variation endings to this one word. So that way you can be as expansive as possible without missing out on anything, because all you have to look for is search for the root word and let the wildcard fill in the blanks for the rest. Another one that you might use quite often is the word crypto. You can see we have 92,000, and you see most of them look just like this. The word crypto by itself, no ending. But you also might think that there's multiple ways that people might say crypto other than just the word crypto. They could say the word cryptography, cryptocurrency, and many more. So instead of you having to think of every single variation of the word crypto and putting those into an or statement, you can simply come in here, put this asterisk, and now it will search for any word that starts with this and then lets that wildcard fill in the blanks for all the possible variations. See what happens when I hit enter. It goes from 92,000 to 173,000. Because not only is it still going to look for anybody that says the word crypto, but it's also going to look up words like cryptocurrency, cryptography, basically any word that starts with this space, and letting this wildcard fill in the blanks for any amount of ending letters to the word. Last one, if I were just to look up the word electric in this search, it's only going to bring back exact matches for the word electric, just like right here. But as we know, the word electric can end in so many different ways, such as electrician, electrical, electric, so many different ways. I can think of a lot more if you give me a couple more minutes to think about it. But instead of having to think of every single variation of the word electric, I can add that wildcard and then say search for this base of the word, and then let that wildcard fill in all the blanks. So not only would it find the words like this, but it would find any word that has any kind of variable ending, as long as the base of the word starts with this. When I hit enter, it goes to 6.2 thousand to 24,000. I was able to increase that 400% because now I was able to search for all words that start with electric and end with any other variation as well. So again, this is a great way using wildcard operators to stand in and be placeholders for other letters and numbers as well, to be more expansive with your search, so that way you're able to find as many exact matches as you can possibly want, rather than having to think of every specific variation of a word. Here at SeekOut, we allow you to write all of your own Boolean search strings to your heart's desire. But maybe you don't want to spend all that time, or maybe you're just not comfortable writing Boolean yet. Well, it's great because we have a service for you called our SmartMatch. What it is, it's the ability to search all 800 million candidates in our database using all the same filters. However, you don't have to write all of those complex Boolean strings. You could do them just from picking from a list and allow SeekOut to run the searches for you. So let's say we're looking for someone who is a software engineer. You can simply type that right into the job titles, and not only will we find matches, we'll also make suggestions to you to other possible titles that you might want to include. Same thing with required skills. Maybe you want to look for a full stack engineer. You put that into the required skills, again, it'll start finding matches as well as populating other possible required skills that may be a match for your role. And just like that, without having to write any Boolean search strings or worry about any of those things, we were able to populate matches for you instantly in a matter of seconds. But maybe you want to go a little bit deeper. Maybe you want to be a little bit more, I guess you could say, in-depth with your search to find those absolute stellar candidates that match all of those requirements. However, you don't want to spend all of that time having to build those search strings or go through and manually build that in SmartMatch. Enter AI Assist. AI Assist in SeekOut allows you to simply just copy and paste a job description right here into our platform, and then we help generate that search for you in a matter of seconds. So here is a job description for a full stack engineer from SeekOut. All I did was I took this, I copied and pasted it into here, and I was able to generate this search, which found me almost 4,000 absolute perfect matches, followed by partial matches right here, which are going to be people that match the majority of your criteria. So that way you will never have to worry about running out of candidates and finding people. Simply using our AI Assist, I was able to do what normally would have taken me minutes, sometimes hours to build that search string in Boolean, having to go through, make edits, find errors and everything else to make sure that it works just the way I wanted to. All that was taken down to just 20 seconds of time. And just like that, I was able to surface 4,000 quality full matches, followed by another 20,000 partial matches, so I can spend more time engaging these candidates than actually having to spend time finding candidates. That is what the AI Assist and the SmartMatch brings to you when you're using the power of SeekOut.